So, hello guys. Today I'll be sharing you about the most ancient or the first calendar ever and language. Um, so I'm going to share you some passages and explain to you why the Hebrew calendar and the Hebrew language was the first ever calendar from the beginning and language. According to Book of Jubilees, according to this book, Hebrew is the language of heaven and was originally spoken by all creatures in the garden, animals and man. However, the animals lost their power of speech when Adam and Eve were expelled following the deluge or the great flood. The earth was apportioned into three divisions for the three sons of Noah and his 16 grandsons. After the destruction of Tower of Babel, their families were scattered to their respective allotments, and Hebrew was forgotten until Abraham was taught it by the angels. So, let's see during the time of Abraham in Book of Jubilees chapter 12. It's written here that God was talking to Abraham and to angels. So here in here in chapter 12 verse 25, you know, and the Lord God said, "Open his mouth and his ears, and he may hear and speak with his mouth, with a language which has been revealed, for it had ceased from the mouths of all the children of men from the day of the overthrow of Babel." And he took the books of his fathers, and these were written in Hebrew, and he transcribed them, and he began from henceforth to study them, and I made known to him that which he could not understand, and he studied them during the 6 rainy months. So it was stated here that after the confusion of languages from the Tower of Babel, during the time of Abraham, Hebrew language was restored to Abraham, and he was again taught by God and angels to speak Hebrew, which is the tongue of the creation. And of course, the first calendar, of course, it was Hebrew, right? Because the language during that time was Hebrew. So about the calendar, guys, Hebrew calendar. This is uh, this is some verses in Book of Enoch or Slavonic Enoch. Here in chapter 65, about we are talking here about the Hebrew calendar, and in chapter 3, here we are going to read, guys. Okay. And the Lord saw all man's works and created all his creatures and divided time. From time he fixed the years, and from the years he appointed the months, and from the months he appointed the days, and of days he appointed seven. So because seven, this is the number of days in a week, seven. And in those days he appointed the hours, measured them exactly, that man might reflect on time and count years, months, and hours, their alternation, beginning and end, that he might count his own life. You know, that's why men starting from Adam were able to be their ages were able to be counted, because until Noah, because they are already aware of the Hebrew calendar, and they were able to count their own life, and that he might count his own life from the beginning until death, and reflect on his sin, and write his work, bad and good, because no work is hidden before the Lord, that every man might know his works and never transgress all his commandments, and keep my handwriting from generation to generation. So that means, guys, since from the beginning, God already divided the time and provided calendar to humans, starting from Adam. That is why their ages were able to be counted. So here in the book of Enoch, one of the month of Hebrew month was even mentioned here in chapter 68 about Enoch. Enoch was born on the 6th day of the month Sivan. See, this is 1 month in the Hebrew calendar, Sivan, and lived 365 years. He was taken up to heaven on the first day of the month Sivan, remained in heaven 6 days. He wrote all the signs and all creation which the Lord created, and wrote 366 books, and handed them over to his sons, and remained on earth 30 days, and was taken up to heaven on the 6th day of the month Sivan, and on the very day and hour when he was born. So that's why, guys, I'm telling you that Hebrew was the first calendar from the beginning. And here, guys, we can see here the Hebrew calendar, or the biblical calendar here, and their corresponding months in the Gregorian calendar. You know, the Romans, they also made their own calendars, the Julian calendar first, and then the Gregorian calendar. You know, but the Romans, since they were pagans, they named the name of months, they named after their pagan gods, and some were named after their emperors. So here, April was named after their goddess Aphrodite. May, Maya, June, Juno, July, Julius, this is their emperor Julius Caesar, and Augustus Caesar. So these are the names of their months after was derived from the names of pagan gods and their emperors. And Janus is the two-faced god. No, January was named after Janus. And you know, guys, pagans, after, Nimrod was the one who founded the worship of the sun, or the day of the sun, or Sunday. Yeah, the day of the sun was founded by Nimrod from the Tower of Babel. So this is the origin of sun worship, development of sun worship. Actually, Sunday is the first day of the week. Whatever dictionary or encyclopedia you would search, Sunday is really the first day of the week. But according to Bible and extra biblical books from Dead Sea Scrolls, the Sabbath is the seventh day of the week, or the worship day of true people of God. And even Adam was commanded by God from the beginning to stop working on the seventh day, or Sabbath. And here I'm going to share you another passage here from the book of Enoch about Adam and the Sabbath. So here, guys, in the book of Enoch, Slavonic Enoch, it's written here about Adam and the Sabbath day. And God said, "And I blessed all my creatures, visible, physical, and invisible, spiritual. And Adam was 5.5 hours in paradise, and I blessed the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, on which he rested from all his works." So that means, guys, that God, after 7 days, after 6 days of creation, God sanctified the seventh day Sabbath, and the Sabbath is still is still the day that is observed by people of God, even present day Jews or Israelis. Back to our calendar, guys. Since God created the calendar from the beginning and count so that men may able to count their years or ages, it's written here in the book of Genesis the ages of Adam, from Adam to Noah. So you may wonder how they were able to count their ages. You know, Adam was 930 years and he died. After Noah was 500 years, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So guys, they were able to count their ages, because God really had given them the calendar from the beginning so that they may able to count their years. So that back here in Slavonic Enoch, so that man might reflect on time and count years. See? And that he might count his own life from the beginning until death. So that's why men were able to count their ages since the beginning, since the time of Adam until present time. So back to the pagans, guys, those who after the Tower of Babel, they began to make their own calendars, in honor of the sun and the other pagan gods. And Nimrod was the first to worship the sun, and he introduced sun worship during his time. And Nimrod was the great grandson of Noah, son of grandson of Ham, and son of Cush. So as you can see, guys, the origin of sun worship or Sunday was originated from the Tower of Babel and was started by Nimrod. As you can see here, even the calendar of the Gregorian or calendar of Romans, they adopted some of the weeks named after the pagan gods of Germanic Norse. Here, when Germanic and Norse cultures adopted the Roman calendar, they replaced some of the Roman gods with their own deities. Here's a breakdown of the origins of the names of the days of the week in English. So as you can see, guys, every week number of days were the name of the days were in honor of their pagan gods. And there's the Sunday or Day of the Sun. So Sunday derived from Sun's Day or Day of the Sun. The day was named in honor of the sun, which was considered a deity in various ancient cultures, including Roman and Norse mythology. So as you can see here, guys, Nimrod was the one who started sun worship. So sun worship or Day of the Sun or Sunday, that's the same in opposed to the Sabbath that was sanctified by God from the beginning. So as you can see here, guys, even the Sumerians, they began to have their own calendar. As you can see there, they even have their own sun god, right? They have their sun god and other pagan gods. But actually, guys, if you don't know yet, Sumerian was derived after the name of Nimrod's wife. Nimrod's wife was named Semiramis or Sumiramis. That's why the people who deified Semiramis, were called Sumerians, and they are what they call the Sumerian civilization. But actually, Semiramis was the wife of Nimrod and mother. So that's all. That's it, guys. As you can see, pagan gods, pagan people, or began to have their own calendars in honor of their pagan gods. Mm. Here is the Hebrew names of days in a week. You see, Saturday is the Sabbath or Shabbat. As you can see, guys, Romans also began, or Egyptians, they also began to have their own calendar. Uh, Egyptians, they also have their own sun god, right? And pagan gods. Actually, Egyptians were descended from Ham. You know Ham. Egyptians were descended from Ham, and Ham has four sons: Canaan, Mizraim, Cush, and Libya. And Mizraim actually is the Hebrew word for Egypt. So Mizraimites are also called Egyptians. So there's no way that the Egyptian calendar will be the most ancient calendar, because the Egyptians were descended from Ham through Mizraim, because Mizraim is the Hebrew word for Egypt. So other people also claim that the earliest civilizations were the Akkadians or the Babylonians, Sumerians. But according to the Bible, Nimrod, the great grandson of Noah, a mighty hunter before the Lord, the first centers of his kingdom were Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, and Shinar. From that land he went to Assyria, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Kala, and Resen, which is between Nineveh and Kala. So Nimrod was actually the one who built these cities. Akkad, from this emerged the Akkadian Empire, Erech or Uruk, and Babylon, and other great cities. So that only means that these cities were not, or civilizations were not, as they claimed, the earliest civilizations or the first civilizations, because every empire built by Nimrod, Akkadian, Uruk or Erech, and others, Babylonians, they were all built by Nimrod, and Nimrod was just one of the grandchildren of Noah and the son of Cush. So there's no way that people claim those civilizations were the most ancient, because every nations were descended from Noah and his sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. So as you can see here, guys, this is the table of nations. So this is our blog for today, guys. As you have learned, the most ancient calendar was actually the biblical calendar, or the Hebrew calendar, because that was the calendar from the beginning, and the first language that was used since the beginning, and the language of heaven was Hebrew language and Hebrew calendar. So I hope you learned a lot from this vlog, guys, about the most ancient calendar and the most ancient language, which is the Hebrew calendar. And please don't forget to subscribe, to like, share, and subscribe, guys. And hope you learned a lot from this video, and hope you will share these ideas to other people. And see you on our next vlog, guys.